Once upon a time, in the lush emerald hills of the kingdom of Eldor, there lived a young and valiant prince named Corwin. He had hair as dark as raven feathers, and eyes like stormy skies, sharp, calculating, yet kind. Prince Corwin was known for his bravery, but what few knew was that he also had an unusual obsession: gold and Gouda cheese. He stored his treasures in a vault beneath the castle, an intricate labyrinth of magic and steel. Only he knew the passcode, and no thief, not even the most cunning in the realm, dared to crack the code. One misty morning, as Corwin hunted with his falcon in the Mirkwood near the border of the kingdom, he heard a scream, piercing and shrill. Racing to the sound, sword drawn, he found a girl tied to a twisted oak tree, surrounded by the slithering shadows of magic. A hideous old witch cackled nearby, chanting incantations. Without hesitation, Corwin charged. With a battle cry and a flash of steel, he sliced through the bindings and leaped between the girl and the witch. The two fought, a duel of magic versus might. In the end, the witch crumbled into a pile of ash, leaving behind a singed black rose, and the girl, unconscious in his arms. Her name was Elira. She had hair like spun copper, and a gaze that could steal the breath from lungs. As she awoke, her eyes locked onto Corwin's, and for a moment the world stood still. Back at the castle, she was treated like a princess. Corwin found himself enamored. Her laugh, her wit, her stories of distant lands. He thought he'd found not only someone to protect, but perhaps someone to love. But 3 nights later, everything shattered. Elira was gone. So was half the royal gold. And much of the Gouda cheese. The guards were found unconscious, drugged, not harmed. Only one clue remained: a black playing card with the emblem of a fox. Prince Corwin was devastated, not just for the treasure, well, a little for the cheese, but for Elira. Had she been kidnapped again? Or worse, was she involved? Determined to find the truth, he disguised himself and left the castle, traveling first to the thieves' market of Graith, then the whispering taverns of Hollowmere. Everywhere he went, he heard rumors of a guild of elite thieves known as the Velvet Dagger, whose signature was the fox card. And they had a new member, a flame-haired girl with fingers lighter than air. To get her, Corwin knew what he had to do. He had to become a thief. Corwin apprenticed under an old rogue named Bramble, a one-eyed ex-bard turned burglar. Under Bramble's tutelage, Corwin learned to pick locks blindfolded, walk without sound, and steal coins from noblemen's belts without them noticing. He even learned to lie with flair. After 3 months, Corwin infiltrated the Velvet Dagger and rose through the ranks under the name Fox Shadow. And finally, they gave him his mission: to rob the royal vault of Eldor. His own vault! Corwin couldn't refuse without blowing his cover. So under moonlight and in total silence, he crept into the castle he'd once called home. The guards had changed since his absence, and the vault's spells had evolved. But he knew the weaknesses. After disabling the traps, he opened the massive door and let the guild inside. There it was, mountains of gold coins, ancient relics, and an entire chamber devoted to Gouda cheese, aged in enchanted humidity. But even as his fellow thieves stuffed their bags, Corwin spotted something odd: a small, empty bottle glowing faintly on the ground. And then a familiar scent: lavender and smoke. "Elira," he whispered. Suddenly he was alone. The other thieves had vanished. Behind him came the click of a dagger. "Well done, Your Highness," came her voice. He turned. There she was, dressed in black leather, a silver mask half off her face, revealing that unmistakable copper hair. "Elira, you planned this?" he asked, anger and heartbreak flaring in his chest. She smirked. "Of course I did. I needed access to your vault." "That witch? I let myself be caught to steal her potion, an ancient brew that reveals any vault's hidden door. But only a royal could use it. So I needed you." "You used me," he said, jaw clenched. "Yes," she said softly, "but I also didn't expect to fall for you." She stepped forward, her eyes shining. "You're clever, brave, and utterly devoted to Gouda. How could I not?" Corwin didn't know whether to kiss her or cuff her. "But why steal all of it?" he asked, motioning to the vanishing gold. Elira raised a brow. "I didn't. That was just a distraction. The guild wanted your wealth. I wanted something else." She held up the tiny potion bottle. "This is Lacrimora, the elixir of forgotten gods. One drop, and you can erase one truth from the world. I plan to erase my past, my bounty, my records. I'll be free." Corwin stared at her, realizing she wasn't just a thief, she was a master. And he, the great prince of Eldor, had been outplayed. Still, he reached into his cloak and pulled out a duplicate bottle. "Looking for this?" Elira's eyes widened. She checked her hand. Her bottle had vanished. "I'm a thief now, too," he said with a grin. For a moment they stood in silence. Then she laughed. "Touché, Your Highness." "Come back with me," he said. "Forget the guild. Forget the past." She hesitated, then leaned in and kissed his cheek. "I can't. Not yet." And like smoke, she vanished, leaving behind only the fox card and a wedge of gouda. Years later, legends would whisper of a mysterious couple, the fox and the shadow, one with hair like fire, the other with a royal glint in his eyes. They robbed corrupt lords and vanished like myths. In the castle of Eldor, the prince ruled wisely, but in secret he kept a second vault, not just of gold or cheese, but of letters from Elira. And on some nights, when the moon was high and the wine was sweet, he'd find a new wedge of gouda on his balcony, and a note. "Still the best vault I ever broke into. Love, E," said the note.